my background is basically, I'm more visual arts background. I went to school for visual arts, but I always felt like there was some kind of congruency between visual art, painting and whatnot, and music, especially percussion for me. So I was always gravitated to both. But all that to say that I think of paintings or I think of color when I'm playing drums, and vice versa. You think of dynamics and patterns and and emotion. So I was doing both, and like everybody else who grew up in church, I played mostly at church and toured a little bit in Korea with Korean Christian artists there, and then played at various churches all my life, going back to Orange County and LA, and playing with fusion groups that were Christian fusion groups as well, like Skylight and whatnot. And then, I came over here, and God gave me another opportunity to play at the Stone, and it's been a privilege and an honor. So just to be part of the worship community here has just been nothing short of amazing, and I'm really grateful.
Chuck, can you tell us about one of the most memorable moments in your drumming career?
Yes. Rolling, we're still rolling?
Yeah.
So basically, I think the most memorable times aren't the times when I got to play in front of big crowds or whatnot, or stadiums or whatnot, but it actually had to do with the first time I ever played drums in front of people at church. And so, as I told you before, that I was the troublemaker at church, and I wouldn't clap and sing. I would always play drums on the Bible. I used to drive the teachers nuts. But fortunately, one of the teacher, Mr. Lee, Mrs. Lee, she had a boyfriend, and he was the leader of the worship team at the time. And maybe he saw me, maybe he didn't, but he was at wit's end, and he finally called me to see if I wanted to play drums, out of the blue. So the first Sunday I play, everyone's staring at me like, "What is this troublemaker doing behind the kit?" Right? And so right before I count off, I almost black out. Look at the drum hitter from me. I was like, 1, 2, 3, and then once we got into the beat, man, all my troublemaker buddies in the back are like, "Yeah!" And then all the elders are laughing at me, and then you realize, that wow, God's given me a gift, and it's touching people, even people who thought I was just, a troublemaker. And so I would say that's the first time I felt really embraced by church and by worship, and community and God and everything, just kind of in a whirling dervish of emotion, that when I was 16. So that's probably my most memorable time.
So Chooch, so you were, you toured in Korea professionally quite a bit, and then, right now I know you as a drummer, but also as a graphic designer, game maker / comedian on the side. And so can you tell us kind of what path steered you, and how you got where you are now today?
Well, when you go to Korea and you want to hang out, basically I was kind of under the wings of this band called Next, new experimental team, and I was hanging out with this guy named Shinechar and Yunsang, and they were trying to look after me, but you got to run with the boys, and they were really great to me, and they were kind, generous, but I didn't feel a peace inside. And so I was wrestling because it was an immense opportunity, being only 20-something and hanging with these guys, and girls are like, "Oh my gosh, that's so-and-so," and you're like, "Who are these guys?" Right? I didn't know who they were. I'm from the States. So, but I was wrestling, and I just couldn't sleep through those months, and I just needed some sign from God, and I was praying too, and I get this call like 3 in the morning or something from America, and it's my dad, and he goes, "Son, what are you doing? God gave you this gift so that you could, bless others through worship or whatnot. It's His gift to you. What are you doing with it? This is not your calling with that gift." And that's the butt kick I needed to get out of there. And I remember they were surprised, but understood as well. They were very understanding, and so I don't know. Hopefully, I planted a seed with them, but that's why I'm here. Yeah.
So how did you get the nickname Chooch?
Well, Andy started calling me that here, Andy Melvin at church, and I don't know how he got it, but he heard of it because it started back in California with my little brother when we were growing up, I had French class and he had Spanish class, and all of a sudden one day he started calling me Chucho, and I was like, okay, cool, you know, Chucho, hey Chucho, Chooch, this and that, and then as I got older, I had friends and they go, why do they call you Chucho? And I was like, oh, that's a nickname my brother gave me. It's Spanish. They go, I know, man. You know what it means? And I was like, no, what's it mean? He goes, it means dog. But fortunately, I was born the year of the dog, so I was like, well, that's cool. How serendipitous is that?
So how would you say the P.Ellis drum kit you play today compares to others that you've played in the past?
I would say there's definitely a human element to it. There's a lot of care, thought, a lot of meticulousness. I mean, knowing the guys who build it, I mean, it exemplifies their personality. I mean, it really does. And so, a lot of heart and a lot of just a lot of heart and passion went into it. And so when you lay into those suckers, they give back, and it really speaks a lot about the builders as well.